Hello, so I wanted to do a very basic and kind of simple video on Soviet OZK suits, or basically Warsaw PACT OZK suits, because, right, I'm going to be completely honest with you here, it's a bit confusing, because when I did a stream on this, some people who were very knowledgeable on OZKs were giving me some info, and it seems there's different varieties of OZKs, some that were designed to be disposable, some that were designed to be reusable after like cleaning them down, and obviously different Warsaw PACT countries probably made them to different standards. But anyway, here is the top half, or the main section, of a OZK suit. So what this is, these are quite famous, is if you ever watch anything or look at any of the posters of Soviet civil defence type stuff or military stuff, and you see the Soviet soldiers in these kind of green trench coat NBC suits, this is what they are. So the OZK is pretty simple. So you've got your hood, so let's put my hood in it. There we go. Then let's put my arms through the arm slots. And then we'll get on to the more complicated bit of trying to do it up. But the OZK is basically was one of the really popular sort of Soviet designs of NBC suits. So we'll do the hood up last. Now I've got this main bit on. So now we need to figure out which bits on here correspond with which you know, bits on there. So I think that's the top bit there. So that must be therefore the one that goes. This is one further back there. Here. So actually, I assume that one goes there, the other goes there. And this is a humid day, so that's not brilliant for putting on NBC suits, but oh well, I'm sure I can manage for one video. So, and of course, like with most of these unissued NBC suits, you find that they never want to go through the buttons for the first few times you put them on because the rubber holes are slightly too small for the pegs. But literally, you know, it's a bit of a problem if you're putting on an emergency NBC scenario. There you go, that one's on. Let's see if I can now force that one down onto its peg. Now I've got a grip on that other one. Can I? I'm really hoping I don't get stuck in this when I try and take it off. Okay, so there you go, that's that one down. So I assume that's the top two done up, and then we've got basically an inner bit with the pegs, these bits and these bits. So I assume how it works now is you'd get each of the bits, you'd put the inner flap, like this one, down over the peg, if I can get it to line up. I really need to probably hang this on a hanger for a few hours so it straightens out a bit. Then this bit I assume would go over as well. There we go, and then you've got your two-tier bit done up. So let's slowly repeat that for each of the others, and as I said, I certainly couldn't put an NBC suit on like this in an emergency, but these are quite cool retro designs, and I think they were well liked by the people who used them, because they were, you know, compared to some of these German and Polish NBC style suits, although I think both of those countries probably use those OZKs as well, these are kind of a pretty straightforward design, as in, you know, you'd probably have some sort of wader type boots or, you know, Wellingtons on underneath them, because as you probably see, this doesn't include any trousers with this particular one, although some seem to. But I think the trousers are probably a separate sort of standard NBC trousers that would be worn with these, and then the OZK is kind of the top section. So rather than it being just one that goes up around the waist, this is kind of like a really heavy duty sort of trench coat, NBC coat thing. So this might be good if you're ever outside in like monsoon weather, other than the fact that you'd be boiling underneath it because of how, you know, unbreathable it is. Now again, some of these buttons are very awkward to try and get through, because obviously the actual holes aren't always cut quite big enough. There we go. Right, that's almost all of it done up, and of course it's going to leave talc all over my clothes, which is lovely. And then let's do the last one up. So we've got basically just a button down there, same practice. And then, hopefully, we can get the last of these flaps over. But this one doesn't really want to go over very well. I reckon I've missed one of the things. That's why, yeah. Or have I? Very strange. I think it's probably because, again, as I said, this is one of those suits where if you've not had it on before and it's been packaged up for years, like this one had been probably since the 1970s or something. Right, there we are. So then, I assume you'd put the hood up, you'd have your gas mask on under there. And yeah, A few people were saying these were designed so you could wear your mask and your helmet, and this would be big enough to go over both bits, but there you are, Soviet OZK NBC suits. Weird flasher type design. But there you go. So the point of these were that, you know, you've probably famously seen them, I'll get this off now because I'm already sweating like a pig under it, is that basically they were designed to be kind of a really good coverall trench coat NBC suit. And they are well designed, in all honesty, for what they are. You know, as much as stuff like this is never comfortable to wear, it is quite a good thorough system. And I can see why these are more like than some of the other Warsaw PACT NBC suits, because these do seem to be a bit higher quality. So basically, the inside's this kind of canvasy material, the outside's this green rubber covered in talc. So if you ever see any films or whatever with Soviet soldiers in and it looks like they're wearing some sort of NBC trench coat, it's the OZK NBC suit system. As I said, not sure if this one was meant to come with trousers or not, but the bit I wanted was the trench coat top half anyway, because I've got so many pairs of like NBC trousers anyway. And if you've watched a lot of my videos, you already know that I've got some fishing waders that are way better quality than like any NBC trousers I've ever seen, where the over boots are obviously built into the waders. So what I'd obviously do, if I wanted a really good NBC setup, would be wear the NBC trousers that do up over your shoulders anyway, up to about there, because obviously fishing trousers do up at the waist. Then you wear one of these over the top, you'd get a really good comfortable pair of rubber gloves to wear with it. Then you've got a good NBC you know, suit, but ideally you'd hope you'd never have to use something like this, because if you ever have to use something like this, you know stuff's gone so horribly, horribly wrong that maybe the survivors would envy the dead.